Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Brenda Lormel. I am the founder and executive director of the Haitian American Medical Association. Today, I have the honor and privilege to sit alongside Miss Elizabeth Pierre, our newest Miss Massachusetts. I look forward to learning so much about her, and I hope you do too. So thank you for joining us, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
I am too. All right, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Hello. So you're Miss Massachusetts.
I am Miss Massachusetts,
I
yes.
love it. Before we talk about Miss Massachusetts, tell us who you are, where you grew up. I know we have some similarities here, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, my name is Elizabeth Pierre, and I grew up in North Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I am the first person in my family born in America. The rest of my family immigrated here from Haiti.
Okay.
And I would like to say I have 3 or so passions. One of them is being around those that I love and spending time with those that I care about. My second one is youth empowerment. I'm really passionate about empowering our younger generation and making sure that they are not only considered the leaders of tomorrow, but equipping them with the skills for them to be leaders today.
Nice.
And my third is dancing. I am a performer. I love being on stage. So when I am not sure what to say, I like to say that dancing is my favorite form of communication. So,
Love it.
yeah.
Dancing is your favorite form of communication.
Yep.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Of course. So when I dance, I always like to think of a message or a story to share with an audience. And so dancing is an opportunity to maybe say something that I don't have the words to say, or spread a message that maybe words won't be as powerful. And so I like to use my body and the movement and the song as an opportunity to share parts of myself or share parts of a story of someone else, maybe even.
Awesome.
Yeah.
A beautiful way of expressing yourself.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You have a lot of talents.
Yes.
You have a lot.
Yeah, I've been working hard.
Listen, I can tell. I can tell. You have a lot of talents, and despite all your talents, you decided to pursue higher education. Tell us a little bit about Syracuse.
Yes.
Tell us about Syracuse.
Right, so I went to Syracuse University in upstate New York, and I studied human development and family science.
Nice.
I did that because I've always been interested in working with children and families and young people, but I think going into my undergraduate career, I wasn't really sure exactly what that was going to look like.
Okay.
So I chose that so I can get a lot of the science and the developmental aspect of young people and why they act the way they do at whatever age that they're at. But then post my undergraduate degree, I realized that I think my passion lies in social work and working with children, youth, and families in that way. So this fall, I'll be starting my Master of Social Work at Boston College.
Kudos.
Thank you.
Congrats. And now your target population is youth, children, and families. Why that population?
Right. Well, as I said earlier, I think young people are considered the leaders of tomorrow, but not given the opportunity to embrace that when they're young. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way our environment is, the way our status quo is. We like to think of young people as not powerful. And I think social work is amazing because it kind of restores the power that people tend to lose based off whatever trauma that they've experienced. And so I hope that as a aspiring licensed clinical social worker, I can help people work through whatever traumas they have, young people specifically, so that they can gain power, take hold, gain agency again of their own lives and be able to share that story with other people.
Taking back their power.
Yeah.
Now you're Haitian.
I am Haitian.
I'm Haitian.
American, yeah.
Yes. Have you been to Haiti?
I've never been to Haiti.
Ooh,
No, I know. It hurts my heart too.
We gotta get you there.
Yes.
I don't care what it looks like right now in the media. We gotta get you to Haiti, and not Labadie, like Haiti.
Haiti.
Labadie's part of Haiti, but that's the first thing people say is Labadie. But understanding that we're both Haitian, and you chose this population to work with, which I think is noble. And it's true.
Thank you.
You take your power back, right? That you need to take your power back. But do you think a lot of growing up Haitian, do you think a lot of the struggles that youth they face and they encounter has anything to do with culture?
In the Haitian community?
Yeah, specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in traditional Haitian culture, it's a lot of the adult is right, and the child must just listen to the adult, which in a lot of cases is really important in terms of safety, in terms of protection. But I think in other moments, it's really important for parents to stop and listen to how their children are feeling, to stop and validate the way their children are feeling. And I think when children aren't given the opportunity to fully express themselves, they tend to internalize and tend to not really know how to express themselves later as adults because they've never really worked through or never really figured out how to communicate with other people.
Right.
And so I think a lot of that is what I'm also trying to dismantle and attack within our communities, making sure that our adults listen to our young people and that our young people are powerful despite what our status quo within our culture says.
Amazing. And I will say, myself being an adult, I mean, that happened really fast. I don't know what happened, but it went by quick. And I'm 33, and I wear it proud. I'm in my 30s. But I've learned, the older I got, I noticed that there were a lot of things that I had to work through that had a lot to do with my childhood. And for the most part, my parents were open, but they were strict.
Yeah.
They were very strict. And when you talk about listening to a child and allowing them to express like their higher form of themselves, that's not always a thing. And you see it in you know, l'école, l'église, la caille. Yeah, you know, like
the 3 L's.
The 3 L's. You see that, like, those are, so there, it's only 3, l'école, l'église, la caille, and then maybe church could be the other one, because there's a lot of, you know, a lot of folks grew up in church, and that's fine. But it created a box, and it's a beautiful thing to have that support. But sometimes I feel like it was a little suffocating for a lot of folks, and you see it through all the comedy right now, right? That's on social media, and it seems like every Haitian child or even adult can relate to all of the comedy. So I think what you're doing is amazing, and I know you're Haitian, so you'll connect with your Haitian families and children on another level. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
It's nice to hear about who you are outside of the crown.
Right.
Or I don't want to say outside of the crown, but before the crown.
Right.
This is who you are.
Yes.
This is your firm foundation.
Yes,
and it's
it
beautiful
is.
that you are Haitian. So tell us about Miss Massachusetts. What prompted you to even want to compete?
Right.
What brought you there?
Right. So as I mentioned, I'm a dancer. I love performing, and throughout my undergraduate career, I was on a dance company, so I spent a lot of time dancing. And coming back home, I felt like there was a void. I didn't have an opportunity to dance, to perform, to get on a stage. And so it's always funny when I say this, through a simple Google search, I found the Miss Boston and Miss Cambridge competition, local scholarship competition. And what makes the Miss America organization stand out amongst other competitions that are similar is the fact that we have a talent portion of competition. So that's really what attracted me to it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna choreograph, I'm gonna perform, it's going to be fun, and the worst that could happen is that I don't win. But I have the opportunity to meet new women, to win scholarship money, and to perform. And so I went for it, did it, and then became Miss Cambridge.
Love
and
it.
Right. And then, so from there, normally on a normal timeline, Miss Cambridge and Miss Boston would be in February, Miss Massachusetts would be that June or July, and then Miss America is later in the year. But because of the pandemic, Miss Massachusetts got pushed back.
Okay.
So I was Miss Cambridge for a year and a half. I was the longest reigning Miss Cambridge ever in history because of that. And so then I competed at Miss Massachusetts finally about 3 weeks ago, and then here we are. Here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So longest reigning Miss Cambridge.
Yep.
Were you the first Haitian American Miss Cambridge?
I believe so.
Okay.
I have to recheck my history.
We'll hold that for right now.
Yeah, we'll pause on that.
Fair, but for Massachusetts, indeed you are. I love that. So you started somewhere, you had a goal.
Yeah.
And the goal didn't, it's interesting you talk about, you know, you have a talent. And then you could also get scholarship money to help you get through school. And then you can see where else this will bring you. So you had steps. Can you talk a little bit about the process? Were there any times during the process where you felt discouraged, felt like you probably weren't good enough, or this probably wasn't the space for you? Talk about that.
Absolutely.
We talk a lot about success,
Yes.
but sometimes we don't talk about the background stuff that brought us to the success. So can you talk about that?
Right. I always say the story. So right after my judges interview, so there are different portions of competition.
Okay.
There's a 10-minute interview with the judges.
Okay.
There is your on-stage question. There is talent. There is your social impact initiative pitch. So whatever you plan on doing throughout your year, you say that to the audience as well. And then there's the red carpet. So that's like what people know as evening gown. And so right after my judges interview, I spoke to the judges. I thought it went okay. I was like, I don't really know. It's a toss-up. But walking out of the judges' room, I immediately started crying. And I was like, why am I crying right now? And I came to realize that I felt like I had a case of imposter syndrome, where I felt like, I don't know if this is the space for me. I don't know if this is something that I should be pursuing, regardless of the fact that I was born and raised in Cambridge. So I know Cambridge. Like, I know I could be a great representative of Cambridge. But something was just like, I don't know. And I think that just had a lot to do with this was a new space for me, and I had never really gone into a space like this before, and I had a very limited budget. I wasn't someone that had spent thousands of dollars to compete at the local competition, and so I think because of that, I really felt discouraged. But then I realized afterwards that there's a lot of young women that feel like that all the time. And what makes the Miss America organization amazing is that it is one of the largest providers of scholarship dollars for young women in the country. And so more young women like me, or more young women who feel discouraged, who feel like they're not being pushed to achieve their goals or their dreams, this is an amazing opportunity for them to make that happen, to get dollars to fund your education, professional development skills, how to speak to people, how to turn your plans into actions and be a leader and be impactful. That's exactly what I've learned through this organization. And so I really hope to, as Miss Massachusetts, go into communities and show more young women that this is a space for them. It's okay.
So
put that on silent.
Always moving.
Always moving.
Always moving. And I'm sure you can relate.
Yes, I can.
But we're not going to move on to that call. But we're going to keep here. We're going to keep going here. So I learned a lot about Miss Massachusetts through you just right now. I wasn't aware that, there was scholarship funding, professional development, and all of that, and which is, I think, is amazing. And it's an amazing opportunity that you got to go through. And you talk about imposter syndrome. That's a real thing. But you hit the nail right on the head when you said it was a new space for me. And as you said that, I'm reminded by the work that you're trying to do, right? We talk about the four walls of growing up, in a Haitian household, or even like an immigrant household, how you're very much, this is what you're going to do because it worked for our parents. And we have to respect that, the discipline, the structure, it worked for them. And discipline and structure is good, but that full expression of becoming everything that you can be, it doesn't always look like what our parents envision, right?
Exactly.
So as you moved into a new space, it was uncomfortable.
Right.
Fear starts setting in. Do I belong? Like, you talk about budget. I don't have the funds.
Right.
Some of the most amazing people that we read about, I love Tyler Perry, for example. He had nothing.
Yeah.
People are creating amazing things out of nothing. So you should be proud of yourself for keep pushing through that fear, but also talking about it, because a lot of times people don't feel comfortable talking about it. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
And you talked about social pitch. What are you going to do in your 1 year of being Miss Massachusetts? Tell us what you pitched to those judges. Tell us.
So my social impact initiative is called We Hear You, Empowering Youth Voices. And basically it's like what I said. It's going into communities, it's going into places where young people are and letting them know that they are powerful, giving them the tools, the resources to be able to think critically about the world around them and figure out ways that they can make our community better, to make our community more just, make our community more peaceful, more equitable even. But also with that, the second part is also talking to adults and reminding them that yes, you are adult, yes, you have so much experience, but that doesn't mean that your voice is better or more powerful than the young person sitting next to you. So it's finding that balance of letting both generations know, all generations know that our young people are powerful, they can be leaders, we just have to give them the opportunity. We have to sit down, we have to listen to them, hear what they have to say, and validate that.
Validate it, respect it,
exactly.
and let both generations thrive, or all generations thrive.
Right.
You talk about separating the younger from the older generation, and the thing about the older generation that, being Haitian American, that I feel like we shouldn't forget too, is that they really, again, they have their pluses and their minuses, but sometimes we focus on their minuses a lot more than their pluses, right? We take away, we're reminded of the negative, the box.
The box.
Okay, the box.
That box.
That box. That box. We're reminded, but I also do appreciate that you're hearing from them too.
Mm-hmm.
And because sometimes they could be lost or feel
Right.
like they're being pushed off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay because there's space for everyone to thrive. That's
Exactly.
beautiful. It's beautiful because that's how it should be. But they can learn.
Right.
They can learn.
They can learn
We're
from
all
the
learning.
young people. Exactly.
Life is
We're all
all about learning, right? You can learn from an infant,
Exactly.
and you can learn from an 89-year-old
Mhm.
Haitian mother.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, like my grandmother, for example, she couldn't read, but she taught me how to speak Creole,
Mm.
and that was a gift. I learned from her. So you want to connect.
Right.
That's beautiful. Now tell me, have you felt like things have changed since in the past 3 weeks, to say the least? Do you feel like things have changed for you, and in what way?
Well, I think the biggest change is opportunities like this, opportunities to be able
Yep.
to talk about what I'm passionate about and
Yep.
talk about what my goals are for this year as Miss Massachusetts to a broader audience. And it's something that I've been doing for a long time. Like I've been working with young people for as long as I can remember. So in that, I don't think there's a huge change in who I am per se, but the audiences that I'm able to reach. And that's something that I'm really, really grateful for, that I feel incredibly blessed for, to have this opportunity to reach out to people that normally I wouldn't be able to because of just who I was before. Before I was just Liz, just Elizabeth,
You
which
were Liz.
is amazing. But also having
Yeah.
this Miss Massachusetts and the opportunity to compete at the 100th anniversary of Miss America, it adds a little bit of power. It adds a little bit of extraness that people
Yes.
are more willing to listen to me.
The extra you deserve.
Yes.
The extra you deserve.
The extra I
in the
deserve.
space that you were created to be in.
Right.
The extra you deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Now tell us.
I will tell you.
Tell us. Is there anything that makes you hesitant about this new journey that you're going to embark on? Because we have emotions, and sometimes we could be very excited,
Right.
as you were before you walked into that judge's room,
Mm-hmm.
and then you walked out and you cried, and you're
Mhm.
like, "Oh my God!" Are there any fears or any concerns that you're thinking about as you navigate this new space, this new title?
Yes, I'm only the second modern day black woman to hold this title.
Mhm.
And with that, I'm the one with the deepest complexion to hold this title.
Mhm.
And so thinking about that, there's every day we go through struggles, we go through race relations, we see what happens in the news, we hear the microaggressions. And so, there's always that fear that something like that I could experience something in regards to my race that may make me feel uncomfortable or make me feel unprotected or unsafe. But, again, like my goal for this is to open this space up for more women who have no idea that this is an opportunity for them. So I hope to stand tall in those moments and let people know that I have earned this and I have done the work to be the best Miss Massachusetts I can to represent the entire state, regardless of what people look like, regardless of what their background is, regardless of their socioeconomic status.
Yeah.
And I really hope to do my best to be able to show everybody that.
So whenever you get to those points or those periods, we don't want them.
Right,
Of
we don't.
course,
We don't want them.
But we live in this world
Right.
and we see what's going on.
Right.
Just as you created a platform of we hear you,
Mm-hmm.
just remember your whole Haitian community hears you.
Mm-hmm.
Every single young black woman of color
Right.
hears you.
Right.
So you get to those moments, remember we hear you. So what you say and what you do in those moments are going to be just as crucial as when
Right.
they're not happening.
Mm-hmm.
We hear you.
Right.
What a beautiful story.
Thank you.
I am all about people breaking barriers. And tell us one thing. What do you want your legacy to be?
Oof, that is a loaded question.
That's loaded.
Loaded question.
It's not the box anymore, right?
It's not that.
We're all the way out there. It's huge.
Right.
As simple. What would you like folks to know after this is done? After this is over, what is your legacy? What would you like folks to remember you as?
As a woman that makes every person feel powerful, that makes every person feel as though they can leave a legacy and that they can leave an impact, and no matter what space they're in, I hope to leave a legacy of making people understand that regardless of where they come from, whatever action they take can make a difference, whether it's small or large. making a difference doesn't mean standing at a megaphone in the front of a protest, right? Making a difference can be whatever talent you have and using that skill to reach another audience. And so introducing people to this organization, like I said, is a great way to do that because of the audience that it's given me. But to do that in any way possible, that's what I hope to leave.
Well, you're building legacy.
They're always going through some sort of civil unrest, like you said, or we have a rough relationship with Mother Nature and things like that. And I really do believe that this is, me becoming Miss Massachusetts is an opportunity for hope. It's an opportunity to let other people know that Haiti is more than just the negative times and the negative things that we go through, but we are a group of people that is incredibly resilient, that work incredibly hard to get to where we are, and I think I'm a true testament of that. That's what the values that my parents have given me has always been of unwavering strength, resilience, perseverance. And so as Miss Massachusetts, I hope to show people that we have a huge Haitian population here in Massachusetts, and that we are here, we are striving, we are amazing, and that all of that stems from the motherland and how all of our parents and our parents' parents were taught to live and taught to be. And so as Miss Massachusetts, I really hope to show everyone that Haiti is more than just the negative things that they hear in the news, but we are a beautiful culture and a beautiful people.
Absolutely, it's definitely more than what we see. And I know earlier in this interview, I talked about you going to Haiti, not just Labadie. Labadie is beautiful, right? But it seems to us that we know that, but on mainstream media, all they portray is poverty, or the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and I found that growing up, a lot of folks didn't really want to attach their identity to being Haitian because of what's on the media. But I can't wait till you go to Haiti. Listen,
me either.
I can't wait till you go because it's beautiful. And you already, although you haven't been there, you're holding on to the beautiful sides of it and all of the things that your parents have taught you. And I'm sure they have stories for days how they came to this country with all of but nothing. Right? Exactly. I hear the story through my parents. Like, they came here, had way less than what we have today, and they figured it out. They didn't just figure it out, they broke multiple barriers. So now the torch has been passed on to you. And now you're breaking barriers. Beautiful.
That's what my mama taught me to do. So.
Listen, and we're going to do just that, right? Now, do you see your work ever reaching Haiti?
I hope so. I hope so. I haven't fully thought about how, but I'm sure, like we mentioned earlier, that box, the way that our parents have taught us to be is great. They instill strength, they instill determination in us, but also it's a two-way street and they can learn from us as well. And so I hope to have some sort of youth empowerment program or even a dance program kind of thing going on over there. So that's a long-term goal that I have. Yes, please.
I'm going to sign up. I'm signing up. I'm signing up for the dances. I love it. Wonderful. So we talked about a lot, and I learned about a lot, about you, about the competitions, Miss Cambridge, Miss Massachusetts, your upbringing, your talents, your beautiful talents, your experience in the box. I learned a lot, but what are some final words you can share with our audience? Anything you want them to know that you want to stick with them? And then also please share how we can follow up with, following your journey. So what do you want to tell the people?
Well, I would love to tell the people to remember that it's important to rest and it's important to pour into yourself. I think after this last year, we've realized the importance of taking care of ourselves, making sure that we are okay so that we can make sure that others are okay. And especially to the young people that are watching, I want you all to know that you all are powerful and you all have the ability to make a difference. And the best way to do that is to know what you're passionate about and know how you want to affect the world around you. And so really take time to think about that. Take time to think about your talents, your goals, your aspirations, and how you could use that to affect other people and shift all the status quos and make the world a better place. And in terms of handles and how to stay connected and follow my journey to the 100th anniversary of Miss America, you could follow my Instagram, which is at Miss America MA. I have TikTok also, which is liz.pierre. And of course, the Facebook page is Miss Massachusetts. And if I could leave with a final fun fact,
yes,
there has never been a Miss Massachusetts to win the title of Miss America. So my goal is to make you all proud and hopefully bring this home.
I love it. And thank you for starting with taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Because you can't do any of that if you don't take care of yourself.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Liz. It was a pleasure being here with you.
Thank you.
Take care. So there you have it. Miss Massachusetts, Elizabeth Pierre, who shared her life, her journey, or new to begin journey with us. Don't forget to follow her on social media, on TikTok, any platform that is suitable for you. Make sure you support her in any way that you can possibly support her, whether it's sharing this video with friends and family, sharing the things that she puts online, and also supporting her in the youth empowerment work that she is doing and will continue to do. Thank you for joining us.